Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming OCS exams happening in May 2025. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for OCS at TCS. So let's look at the session plan. As you know, we are kickstarting our workshop series. So in this session, I'm going to share general feedback with you because if I'm not mistaken, two individuals got through to us, and based on what we've encountered in this session and in the past sessions, I will be sharing general feedback with you, thereby highlighting major shortcomings faced by students when attempting their mock exams. And also I will be sharing a 3-week study plan with you. If you are yet to start your preparations, you still have time, and I will be sharing this 3-week study plan via the WhatsApp group after this session. And also I will be taking you through one of the mock exams concerning your F1 syllabus, especially directing your attention towards your F1 syllabus, directing your attention towards IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. And this will be followed by a Q&A session. All right, so let me quickly remind you of the upcoming 2 workshops which we have scheduled for you. We are not conducting a workshop next weekend because it's the Easter weekend. And our next workshop, in which I'm going to take you through an E1 related question, is happening on next Sunday, the 27th of April at 9 GMT, 10 a.m. UK. And the final workshop, which happens 2 or 3 days before the exam, I will be sharing last minute tips with you to make sure that you walk into the exam with a high level of positivity. All right, so considering the general feedback, most students face this issue when attempting mock exams. There's a tendency for them to deflect from the task or the requirement. This is quite normal. This is common. So in order to avoid this shortcoming, what I want you guys to do is, as I mentioned in the 3rd webinar answering technique, you are expected to reiterate each requirement in your own words in a concise manner before you develop the answer plan. So I'm going to, take you through one of the mock exams concerning your F1 syllabus, as I mentioned earlier. In it, I'm going to highlight how you can, take steps to make sure that your answers are totally aligned with the requirement at hand. And, when developing answers, if you lack theoretical knowledge, you will struggle a lot, especially if you are coming through an exemption route, because if you had completed your OTQs, you should be fine, because you have already learned all theoretical concepts covered within your syllabus. However, if you are coming through an exemption route, you will have some type of an understanding of what's covered in your E1 syllabus, but you will definitely have significant knowledge gaps concerning your P1 and F1 syllabi. In this exam, 80% of the questions will be based on your P1 and F1 syllabi. So most students who are coming through exemptions, they struggle a lot in this exam, given their lack of knowledge concerning the P1 and F1 syllabus elements. So that's exactly why we have mentioned in the 4th webinar as well as in the 3rd webinar that it's essential that you attempt 6 mock exams with the intention of ensuring that you are conversant with how each syllabus area is tested at the exam. So rather than attempting just 2 or 3 mocks, which will lead to a situation where you are testing your luck at your real examination, it's best to be well prepared. That's why we are advising you to attempt 6 mocks with the intention of covering all syllabus areas. And also, application is a problem. Just because you know your theories, you can't pass this exam. Instead, you need to have a good understanding of how to apply these theoretical concepts or theoretical knowledge which you have gained, especially via your F1 and P1 syllabi. So, you can only improve your application skills by redeveloping answer plans. So I explained what answer plans are in the 3rd webinar. And I also explained how you should redevelop answer plans, what it is all about. And also in the 3rd webinar, I said that attempting just the 6 mocks won't help you. You need to spend some time to redevelop answer plans, which is the best way to conduct your revision. Because when conducting your revision, rather than going through your past notes or your study texts, the best approach is to, the only approach to improve your application skills is to redevelop answer plans. So after attempting each mock exam, you are supposed to redevelop answer plans. That is when you are trying to fix your application related issues. I taught these things in depth in the third webinar. If you didn't attend it, or if you haven't watched the recorded version as yet, please go watch it, because the recorded version of the third webinar is available via our student dashboard as well as via our YouTube handle. And also, you guys definitely will struggle with determining the number of points which you need to include under each and every subtask. Again, I highlighted these things in the third webinar, because when stipulating the number of points which you should include under each subtask, you are supposed to look at the weightage provided. So by looking at the weightage provided under each subtask, you can easily determine mark allocations. And when you can determine mark allocations, you can easily determine how many points you need to include within your answer plan. Again, when I'm taking you through today's mock exam, I will explain this in depth, as because some of you might be attending this workshop for the first time without attending the third webinar. So I will explain how to achieve this, how to determine the exact number of points under each and every subtask when I'm taking you through the mock exam. And some of you struggle when it comes to expanding the answer plan. So once you have dedicated 20 minutes of your time per section trying to develop an answer plan, once you have developed, once you have successfully developed an answer plan, your next step is to expand your answer plan in paragraph form. And as I mentioned in the third webinar, when it comes to expanding the answer plan, it should be totally aligned with the guidance provided by the CIMA examiner, because in your final answer, the examiner particularly says that you should provide answers in paragraph form. So if you plan to include 7 valid points within your answer plan, for instance, then in your final answer, you need to have 7 different paragraphs. And for a certain subtask, let's assume you plan to include 5 main points, then in your final answer, there should be 5 different paragraphs. So that's how you should expand the answer plan. You can easily gain an understanding of how you can expand your answer plans by referring to the answer plans which we have provided, and at the same time referring to the suggested answers. Then you can see the link between the answer plans and suggested answers. And by understanding this link, you stand a chance to get a good understanding of how you should expand your answer plans. And time management might be problematic at this stage, because by now, as per our initial study plan, you should be done with at least 3 mock exams. So, although I've mentioned that you are supposed to develop answer plans within 20 minutes in the third webinar, you might be still struggling with it. So when you were attempting the first mock exam, definitely you would have run out of time trying to stick to our answering technique. When we are asking you to develop an answer plan within 20 minutes, you might have taken 35 or 40 minutes. But by now, you might have experienced some type of an improvement. When you were attempting mock 1, if you took 40 minutes to develop the answer plan, now you might be taking something like 30 to 35 minutes. So if you keep practicing this technique over and over across all 6 mock exams which we have developed for you, by the time you are in the last mock exam, you will gain the confidence and capability which will enable you to develop an answer plan within just 20 minutes. If you do so, you will have the capability of developing answer plans within 20 minutes at your real exam. So the only way to master your answering and time management technique is to keep practicing this technique when attempting each mock exam. So in each mock exam, you would have seen 6 different sections, just like in your real exam. So 6 sections into, 4 different sections, just like in your real exam. So 4 different sections into 6 mocks come up to 24 sections in total. And when you have, practiced this answering and time management technique 24 times over, you will, champion it by the time you are attempting your real examination. So that's the general feedback which I wanted to share with you. And having said that, let's move on to the OCS 3-week study plan. So this study plan is only applicable for those who are yet to start their preparations focused on the OCS exams happening in May. You still have time. You have full 3 weeks at your disposal, three and a half weeks to be precise. So in week number 1, things are a bit hectic because you need to complete 6 different activities, but from week 2 onwards, it's only a matter of completing 5 different activities. So you should commence your preparations by watching the pre-scene analysis videos, which is going to take 3 hours of your time. After you have watched these 4 pre-scene analysis videos, you will gain an in-depth understanding of what appears within your pre-scene. After gaining a good understanding about your pre-scene document, then watch the recorded version of the 3rd webinar in order to learn answering and time management technique. After learning answering and time management technique, put your knowledge to test by attempting mock exam 1 via the exam platform. As you know, if you had already completed mock exam 1, you know for a fact that we have developed an exam platform which is the exact replica of the Pearson VUE system. So you can attempt each mock exam under exam conditions, which is the best way to master your answering and time management techniques. So attempt mock number 1 via the exam platform. After doing so, redevelop answer plans concerning mock 1. So before you redevelop the answer plan, go through the answer plans which we have developed for mock exam 1 so that you understand how you should structure your answer, what type of points you should have included within your answer plan. After gaining an understanding of how you should have structured your answers, keep TCS's answer plan aside and redevelop the answer plan on your own, which is when you are testing whether you have gained something via TCS's answer plans and whether you have the capability. You are trying to understand whether you have the capability of replicating similar answer plans on your own. So that's the best type of revision you have to be involved with in the upcoming 3 weeks. So once you're done with it, focus your attention towards mock exam 2. Do it under exam conditions via the exam platform. After doing so, again, revise your knowledge by redeveloping answer plans concerning mock number 2. And stick to a similar methodology concerning mocks 3 and 4 as well. So attempt mock 3 via the exam platform and redevelop answer plans, and attempt mock 4 and again redevelop the answer plans. So in the first 3 weeks, that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Attempt a mock exam, attempt 2 mock exams per week, and then move on to redeveloping answer plans concerning the same 2 mock exams. And if you do so in the exam week, you are not expected to attempt any mock exams. Instead, simply focus your attention towards referring to the answer plans which we have shared with you concerning the 6 mocks which we have developed. So refer to the answer plans of the first 3 mocks on the first day of the exam week, and on the second day, refer to the last 3 answer plans of the last 3 mock exams, and then reread the annotated pre-scene one last time, and stop all work 2 days before the exam. Start resting, start relaxing, because as I've mentioned earlier, the examiner is trying to replicate a real-life corporate environment. So in a real-life corporate environment, if you have to function properly, you have to be well-rested, you have to be calm and composed. So it's essential that you start relaxing closer to the exam so that you'd function really well with an open mind at your real examination. So hope you'd stick to this, and after this session, I will share this 3-week study plan with you, especially if you are yet to kickstart your preparations. Having said that, let's, I'm going to highlight, what we offer at TCS in a jiffy before we move on to the mock exam discussion. So I'm on the OCS page. If you are yet to check our free content, click on this button and do so. And once you have created a free user account, you'd gain access to our student dashboard. Via this dashboard, go to My Courses. In front of OCS free, you'd see an access content button. Click on it, and via this, you'd gain access to the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops which we have conducted so far. Then you'd also gain access to the pre-scene mind map, the syllabus coverage document, and the answer plan of mock exam 1. And under the mocks tab, you'd gain access to the questions and suggested answers of mock exam 1. And under the exams tab, you have the opportunity of attempting mock exam 1 under real exam conditions via our exam platform. So I mentioned that we have developed an exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system. So you have the opportunity of practicing or testing your answering and time management techniques by attempting mock exam 1 under exam conditions free of charge via our exam platform. So click on this button to start or to attempt your mock exam, first mock exam. So that's these are the content which is provided free of charge under the free package. And if you are interested in investing on our paid content, check our sample material before you do so. And if you are yet to join our OCS WhatsApp group, click on this button and join it. Via this group, we will share free resources with you. We will keep you informed of the weekly webinars and workshops, the commencement dates and times. And at the same time, we will keep you, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always raise them. I'm always there to help you guys out. All right, so talking about what we offer two main packages, the essential course and the value course. The essential course is intended for those who are coming through the general route. So since you have already completed your OTQs, you are already conversant with theoretical concepts, you simply need to improve your application skills. So with the intention of making sure that you have the capability of improving your application skills, we have developed these resources and included them under the essential course. So under the essential course, you would gain access to the recordings of all weekly webinars and workshops, 3 mock exams with suggested answers. So although I said that you need to gain access to 6 mocks to cover all syllabus areas and to be conversant with how each syllabus area is tested at the exam, if you are coming through the OTQ route, you need not learn all theoretical concepts because you have already done so. You have already covered all syllabi. So it's simply a matter of practicing your application skills by attempting just 3 mock exams. So if you're coming through the OTQ route, simply go for the essential course and focus your attention towards attempting just 3 mock exams. And you'd also gain access to pre-scene analysis videos, 4 videos in total. And once you have watched these set of videos, you'd gain a good understanding of what's highlighted within your pre-scene document. You need not try to decrypt pre-scene information. We have done it for you. You'd also gain access to industry and financial analysis slides. The industry analysis slides gives you a clearer picture of how real-life companies operate within your chosen industry. And the financial analysis slides paints a picture about the financial standing of your chosen company, because at the very end of your pre-scene, you would have seen the financial statements of Halfpenny. So we have evaluated each financial statement in depth, yet keeping things simple so that you can easily read through these set of slides and understand what happens within your chosen company in a financial sense. You'd also gain access to top 10 likely issue slides, which indicate the most probable scenarios which can be tested at your examination. You'd also gain access to a case study familiarization kit. After you had read through this kit in a jiffy, you are in a position to understand the technicalities behind your OCS exam, and you'd also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat. So the essential course is priced at just £199. And talking about the value course, this is intended for those who are coming through the exemption route and those who had failed the OCS exam previously. Both these sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theory knowledge and issues with application. So with the intention of making sure that you understand how each syllabus area is tested at the exam, and with the intention of ensuring that you have the ability to significantly improve your application skills, we have included some additional resources under the value course compared to the essential course. So under the value course, you'd gain access to everything which comes with the essential course, along with 6 mock exams with suggested answers. So when developing these 6 mock exams, we have made sure to cover all syllabus areas, which ensures that you are fully prepared to face any type of question which is thrown at you at your real examination. And also, you would gain access to the OTQ revision cards after attempting each mock exam. If you feel that you struggled with a certain subtask, or you didn't understand, or you didn't know how to approach a certain theoretical element or a theoretical concept, Do not waste time by referring to your old notes or bulky study texts. Simply refer to our OTQ revision cards. In a jiffy, you are in a position to learn and brush up your understanding concerning different theoretical concepts. And you'd also gain access to the online mock exam platform on which you can attempt all 6 mock exams under exam conditions, which is the best way to fine tune your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. I've taught you answering and time management techniques in webinar 3, and I've taught you stress management techniques in the 4th webinar. If you missed out on them, please go watch the recorded versions, which can be accessed via our student dashboard or via our YouTube handle. And also, you'd gain access to answer plans of all 6 mock exams. You will see what an answer plan looks like in a little while when I'm taking you through one of our mock exams. So this is the best resource out there, which will ensure that you gain a good understanding about how to structure each answer, how to work on your application, how to bring in theoretical knowledge or conceptual knowledge when developing answers, how to bring in pre-seen information. All these things can be covered if you gain access to these answer plans. And on top of that, when conducting revision, as I mentioned earlier, your priority should be to redevelop answer plans. So when you have answer plans at your disposal, your life becomes easy because you can simply, after attempting each mock exam, you can simply go through each answer plan on your own, thereby trying to gain an understanding of how to structure your answers. After you have understood these elements, you can redevelop answer plans on your own. And once you have done so, you can easily compare your fresh answer plans to TCS's answer plans. So if you conduct your revision in this way, you are in a position to attempt all 6 mock exams and at the same time significantly improve your application skills when conducting your revision, thereby focusing your attention towards redeveloping answer plans. So the premium package is priced at £399, which can be paid in 2 monthly installments of £199 each, or you can pay in full and save £100. If so, the price is just £299. So you can invest on your preferred package by clicking on either of these buttons. And if you're planning to sit for the exams happening in August, you can invest right now because you will still have access until the 30th of August 2025. And let me quickly take you to the OCS study plan, which can be accessed via our website itself. So I'm directing your attention towards the initial study plan, which we shared with you. However, if you are starting right now, you should stick to the 3-week study plan, which I explained a while back. So we are in week number 5 as per our original study plan. So within this week, you are supposed to dedicate your attention towards mock number 4. So attempt mock number 4 via the exam platform. Practice your answering, time management, and stress management techniques. Once you are done with it, redevelop answer plans concerning mock number 4, thereby conducting revision. So in order to do all these things, roughly, you are supposed to dedicate 9 hours of study time within week number 5. And in the upcoming week, which is week number 6, you are supposed to direct your attention towards completing mock number 5 and then conducting revision focused on the same mock exam. All right, so that's what we offer. Having said that, I'm going to move on to the discussion of the mock exam concerning the F1 syllabus. Folks, give me a second, please. I'm going to hydrate myself, so I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks, so extremely sorry about that. So I'm going to direct your attention towards one of the mock exams which we have developed concerning IAS 16 property, plant, and equipment. So before I take you to the mock exam discussion, let's try to gain an understanding of what type of syllabus areas or syllabus elements are covered in your examination, which indicates what you should be conversant with when conducting your preparations. So you have to be conversant with IAS 2 inventories, IAS 7 cash flow statement, IAS 10 events after reporting period, and IAS 16. Multiple angles of IAS 16 is heavily tested within this examination. So you have to be conversant with how to capitalize expenditure tied to property, plant, and equipment, how to depreciate property, plant, and equipment, how to dispose. If you are selling any of our machines or our property or equipment, you should know how to do so. And when it comes to disposals, we'd have to revalue our assets. When revaluing our assets, you should know how to do so. And sometimes we might plan to change the useful economic life of assets if we feel that we can use a certain asset for a longer period of time. If so, you should know how to tackle such a situation concerning IAS 16, concerning or considering the guidance provided under IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. Also, your knowledge pertaining to IFRS 5 non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations will be tested, especially when we are trying to dispose of assets. Sometimes we might not sell off all our assets in its entirety. Some of the assets might remain unsold by the end of the financial year. If so, we have to reclassify them as non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations, thereby falling in line with the guidance provided under IFRS 5. And also, rather than purchasing assets outright, we might opt for lease agreements. If so, your knowledge pertaining to IFRS 16 leases will be tested as well. Also, you have to be conversant with taxation, which is a prominent part of your syllabus. So you have to be conversant with general taxation principles, how to compute capital gains taxes, and guidance tied to international taxation, which falls within your F1 as well as E1 syllabi. And you have to be conversant with working capital management because, as you know, as the finance officer of your chosen company, you are located at the operational level, the lowest level of the organization. You are not involved with decision making. Instead, you are assisting decision makers. You are not a manager. Instead, you are reporting to a manager. So, when operating in such an environment, you have to definitely be conversant with working capital management. So you need to know what the working capital ratios will tell you. So you have to be conversant with explaining receivable days, inventory days, and payable days. And concerning these three different ratios, you should have the capability of explaining the cash conversion cycle as well. You should have the capability of explaining the relationships between each of these working capital ratios. Also, if we have additional cash in the short term, you should know how we can invest them. And if we have access to or if we are exposed to cash shortages in the short term, you should know short-term financing options as well. So when developing our mock exams, we have made sure to cover all these elements which comes under your F1 syllabus. And I took you through what appears within your P1 syllabus in webinar 3. And given the Easter weekend, we can't conduct a separate workshop for P1. Because of that, I already covered a P1 related question when taking you through one of our mock exams in the third webinar. So I took you through this syllabus. Some of you might not have been part and parcel of this third webinar. So because of that, I'm going to explain what is highlighted within your P1 syllabus as well in a jiffy. So various different variances, all these variances which appear under your P1 syllabus will definitely be tested at your exam. So you have to be conversant with sales variances, including the mix and quantity variances, material variances, labor variances, and variable and fixed overhead variances. And you should know what planning and operational variances are and how we can manage planning and operational variances. And when addressing questions, you should have the capability of all the facts and figures will be shared with you. So you should not compute. You are not expected to compute any of these variances. Instead, you should have the capability of explaining each variance, considering the facts and figures presented to you. And at the same time, sometimes the examiner wants you to mention the formula of each ratio. So you have to be conversant with the formulas of each of these variances. And at the same time, you have to be conversant with how to explain each of the variances which appear within each and every scenario. And your knowledge pertaining to budgeting and controls will be tested at your exam. So you need to know what the principal budgeting factor is all about, the differences between imposed and participative budgeting. If you look at the current budgeting system adopted by Halfpenny, it's an imposed system or a traditional or incremental budgeting system. So you should know what a traditional incremental or imposed budgeting system is, as opposed to various different participative or modern types of budgeting systems. And you need to know what budget stress testing is, rolling budgets, how to implement them, and the benefits of implementing rolling budgets, flexible budgets, how to implement and benefits, activity-based budgeting, zero-based budgeting, beyond budgeting. All these things you need to know the theoretical concepts behind them, what we should do to implement each type of budget, and what type of benefits or drawbacks we'd be exposed to if we change our budgeting system. And concerning the controls, you need to know what the feed forward and feedback controls, the differences between these two different controls are. And you have to know what responsibility accounting is all about, and the differences between what if and sensitivity analysis. And your knowledge pertaining to costing and pricing will be tested. So you need to know about various different costing methods. So you have to be conversant with marginal costing and absorption costing, activity-based costing. You should know how to implement ABC, the pros and cons of adopting activity-based costing within Halfpenny. You have to be conversant with relevant costing initiatives, the costs tied to app development, costs, and on top of that, when it comes to pricing, how to conduct pricing activities concerning cost plus methodologies. Then you need to know transfer pricing methodologies and the CGMA cost transformation model, especially if we are trying to adopt sustainability. And also, if we are implementing digital systems, then your knowledge pertaining to digital costing methods will also be tested. And you have to be conversant with forecasting. So you have to be aware of all these different tools and how to utilize these tools. So you need to be aware of what big data is, how to explain facts and figures highlighted under a time series analysis, how to read a linear regression equation, how to read a linear regression graph, then how to explain seasonal variations. And at the same time, you should have the capability of explaining the limitations of forecasting techniques. And tied to risks and uncertainty, you have to be conversant with various different risk attitudes, maximax, minimax, and maximin. You have to have the capability of reading payoff tables, decision trees, and explaining expected values, what standard deviation and coefficient of variation are. And you have to have the have a good idea of how to compute the value of perfect information. You should have the capability of identifying risks and managing them. And at the same time, you should know limitations of each of these risk management tools, which I mentioned a while back. And tied to short-term decision making, your knowledge pertaining to make or buy decisions, multi-product break-even analysis charts, explaining linear programming charts, and your knowledge pertaining to inventory management. You should know what an aggressive approach to inventory management is all about. You should know what economic order quantity is, and what just-in-time ordering is or purchasing is all about. And you have to understand about how to conduct a business in an ethical manner, how to uphold corporate social responsibility. And if we are going for further automation, especially given the fact that Halfpenny is a highly automated company, they might pursue further automation in the future. If so, you should have the capability of explaining to the management as to how we should manage probable redundancies in the future, how to implement artificial intelligence within our manufacturing operations, and the type of benefits we will gain out of it. And also, you should have the capability to explain the non-financial factors which we should consider when it comes to decision making. Also, different types of KPIs related knowledge will be tested. So all these KPIs are totally aligned with what appears or what is highlighted within your pre-seen document. All right. So that's That's your P1 and F1 syllabi. What's covered under them, there's a lot. But don't worry, if you attempt the 6 mock exams, you will cover all these elements which I mentioned just now. If so, you will be extremely successful at your real exam. Okay, so let's look at section number 2 of mock exam 1. So the time allocation is 45 minutes in its entirety for the entire section. I'm not going to take you through the entire section. Instead, I'm simply going to direct your attention towards subtask A. All right, so you are receiving an email from your finance manager and the subject goes as PPE, property, plant and equipment, and key performance indicators. The board recently decided to acquire automated dough tippers to streamline our production process. These machines will gently lift and tip dough batches directly onto conveyor belts, replacing the current manual dough tipping method. So as per your pre-scene, we are relying on a manual dough tipping system at the moment. And the board is deciding, the senior management team has decided to go for automation. And this automation will enhance efficiency, reduce manual labor, and minimize the risk of contamination. The acquisition process is currently underway. I have prepared a list of expenses that we have incurred in the acquisition of these new machines. So with the intention of pursuing further automation, we have acquired certain machines. However, I am unsure if all these expenses should be capitalized. So this, by reading through this, after reading through this scenario, you can understand that the examiner is trying to test your understanding about how to capitalize the expenses tied to IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. So let's look at the requirement. The requirement is quite long. So therefore, could you please give me a brief explanation about the criteria for capitalization of expenditure and the treatment for each of these expenses in the financial statements? Please refer to the information which I have attached with this email. See table 1 in preparing your response. So let's try to understand what appears within your reference material as per what's highlighted in table 1. So the table 1 indicates the costs related to the purchase of automated dough tipping machines. So there are various different costs, cost items mentioned within this reference material. So there's an indication about the purchase costs of these machines, including VAT, which comes up to 2.5 million dollars. We need to spend $700,000 tied to building work required to modify the operations bay. So if we are to utilize these machines, we'd have to modify the operations bay. For that, we are spending $700,000. And also, we have to maintain these machines and service them. And the cost is going to be $80,000. And we are supposed to spend $120,000 to train the crew who is going to operate these new machines. And also, we have to spend $400,000 for essential modification costs, and interest charges come up to $74,000. So the notes give us an indication of additional information concerning crew training costs, modification costs, and the interest expenditure. All right, so with regards to crew training costs, let's try to figure out what this $120,000 is all about. The employees involved with machinery maintenance need to attend training sessions to be able to maintain these new machines. So in order to maintain these machines, we have to train our employees. For that, we are going to spend $120,000. Some of the machines that were purchased required certain modifications that had to be installed additionally. So in order to utilize these machines, we had to modify some of the machines. So for these essential modifications, we are supposed to spend $400,000. And the machines were purchased using debt finance at an interest of 5% per annum. So these machines were purchased by opting for a long-term loan or debt finance, and the interest component comes up to 5%. So that is our interest cost, which comes up to $74,000, which can be termed as the finance cost tied to this investment as well. All right, so let's try to look at how you should address the requirement. You are supposed to give a brief explanation about the criteria for capitalization of expenditure. So that's the first part of your requirement. and the treatment for each of these expenses in the financial statements. So before you develop your answer plan, your first step right after reading through the scenario should be to reiterate the requirement in your own words in a concise manner. So I said that, let me take you to one of the previous slides. I said that the biggest problem faced by students is the fact that their answers deflect from the task or the requirement. So with the intention of making sure that you develop answers which are totally aligned with the requirement, you are supposed to reiterate this requirement in your own words in a concise manner. So let's see how we are supposed to do this. So I've simplified this requirement in 4 or 5 words: capitalization of expenses and effect on financial statements. So it's essential that you simplify each requirement, which enables you to gain a clear understanding of each requirement. If so, you can develop answers which are totally aligned with each requirement. And at the same time, whilst developing the answer plan, it makes your life easy when you have a simplified requirement. You can always refer back to a simplified requirement and see whether you are developing an answer which is 100% aligned with the requirement. So with that in mind, you are supposed to simplify the requirement. That's exactly what you can see here. So first things first, you are supposed to explain how to capitalize these expenses and also mention how these expenses will impact our financial statements. And the second step is to determine mark allocations based on the weightage provided. So previously I mentioned the fact that students struggle with understanding the number of points which should appear under each subtask. So you can easily determine the number of points by looking at these weightages. As you can see, the weightage provided for subtask A is 40%. By understanding this weightage, we can easily understand mark allocations. As you know, for each section, 37.5 marks are allocated. So 40% of 37.5 marks come out to 15 marks in total. Each valid point carries 2 or 3 marks. So in order to gain 15 marks, you need to come up with either 5 points, if you assume that each valid point carries 3 marks, or if you assume that each valid point carries 2 marks, you need to come up with 7 valid points. So in a nutshell, if you are to score 15 marks, you need to come up with 5 to 7 valid points within your answer plan. So if you stick to this methodology, then you know for sure how many points you need to include within each and every subtask. And when you do so, you are taking steps to develop answers which are 100% aligned with mark allocations. Therefore, your answers will not be too long or too short. So that's how we are supposed to determine the marks based on the weightage. And once you understand the mark allocations, you can simply determine how many points you need to include within your answer plan. And once you have understood this, you are supposed to develop the answer plan. So let me scroll to the relevant answer plan. So I've started my answer plan by developing a main heading, which is in bold and underlined format, which reads as capitalization of expenditure, new door tipper machines. And first things first, you should explain IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. Always remember, whenever your knowledge pertaining to IASs or IFRSs are tested, simply you have to start the answer by explaining the relevant IAS or IFRS. So the accounting standard tested in this question is tied to IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. So I've started my answer by explaining it. So under IAS 16 property, plant and equipment, if you are to capitalize expenditure, an asset must be created. So the asset is created if we are probable that the expenditure results in future economic benefit and the expenditure can be reliably measured. So to capitalize certain expenditure, we should create an asset. We should be sure that we have created an asset. And in order to determine whether we have created an asset or not, we have to see whether the asset leads to probable future economic benefit. we have to see whether it's probable that the expenditure which we have spent on the asset will lead to future economic benefit. And since we are adopting further automation, we are pretty sure that these new machines will generate future profits, because it's mentioned within the scenario that this automation will enhance efficiency, reduce manual labor, and minimize the risk of contamination. So when the risk of contamination decreases, our quality of the breads and rolls which we manufacture will increase, which will impact our revenues and profitability in a positive manner. And when we are taking steps to reduce manual labor, we are reducing unnecessary costs. And at the same time, this automation will enhance efficiency, and these efficiency improvements will definitely improve our future profitability. So it appears that we have fulfilled the first requirement. It is safe to assume that the expenditure which we have made on this on purchasing these assets will lead to future economic benefits. So the new machines will definitely generate future profits for our company. And also, we have to see whether the expenditure can be reliably measured or not. So the expenditure, as per what's highlighted in here, is cash related. All these expenses are cash related. So we can reliably measure the expenditure spent to purchase these assets. So since we have fulfilled these two requirements, we can safely say that an asset has been created. Also, as per IAS 16 property, plant and equipment, we have to see whether the assets are held for the supply of goods and services. Yes, these assets, these dough tipper machines, are utilized to manufacture bread in a much more efficient manner. So these assets are held for the supply of a product, and the assets should be held for more than one accounting period. Definitely, these dough tipper machines will be utilized for more than one accounting period. We do not, if we are pursuing automation, definitely we will not think of going for automation for a couple of months and shifting to the previous manual system. Instead, once we implement or invest on these machines and implement an automated tipper process, then definitely we'd stick to this process for more than one accounting period. So we have fulfilled all criteria. So because of that, we can capitalize the expenditure since we have created an asset. If we have not created an asset, as per IAS 16 property, plant and equipment, we cannot capitalize any of these expenses. However, it appears that we have created an asset. So because of that, we can capitalize the expenditure. All right, so let's try to figure out how to treat these items within our financial statements. So IAS 16 gives us an indication of the method of capitalization. So we have already determined that we have created an asset. So because of that, we can capitalize these expenses. And now the IAS 16 property, plant and equipment says how we should capitalize different expenses. So when it comes to capitalizing expenses tied to an asset, first things first, we can capitalize the purchase price, which should include the import duties, because let's assume we imported this machine from a different country. When doing so, this is an expense which we have incurred on behalf of purchasing this machine. So because of that, definitely we can capitalize the purchase price along with the import duties. Also, you can capitalize directly attributable costs incurred to get the asset ready for its intended use. So let's assume we shipped these dough tipper machines from another country. So we had incurred a purchase price along with an import duty. However, without modifying these machines or changing our production processes, which will result in additional costs, let's assume we are not in a position to utilize these machines. If so, any directly attributable cost which we spent to get the asset ready for its intended use can be capitalized as well. Any other cost cannot be capitalized. It should be written off to the statement of profit and loss as an expense. So we can capitalize the purchase price, including import duties and directly attributable costs incurred to get the asset ready for its intended use. And if so, we should capitalize these expenses within the statement of financial position, since we have created an asset. However, all other expenses which cannot be capitalized should be expensed to the SOPL or the statement of profit and loss as expenses. All right, so you now know the method of capitalization. Let's try to work on application concerning the information presented in your scenario. So let's first try to understand the type of costs which can be capitalized. So as per IAS 16, the purchase price including import duties can be capitalized. So the purchase price inclusive of VAT can be capitalized because Halfpenny is not VAT registered. There's no indication of our company being VAT registered within the pre-scene. So it's safe to assume that we are not VAT registered. So as such a company, since we cannot claim our value-added taxes, our purchase price should be inclusive of value-added taxes. So the purchase cost, including VAT, comes up to $2.5 million. We can capitalize it. All right. Then let's try to understand the type of directly attributable costs. As I mentioned earlier, directly attributable costs are the type of costs which are spent to get the asset ready for its intended use. So let's try to understand the type of directly attributable costs mentioned within this cost schedule. So we have to spend $700,000 to modify the operations bay. So without modifying the operations bay, we cannot utilize these machines. So this cost of $700,000 should be considered as a directly attributable cost incurred to get the asset ready for its intended use. And also, we are supposed to spend $400,000 for essential modification costs. As per note number 2, some of the machines that were purchased required certain modifications that had to be installed additionally. So before we utilize these machines for our benefit, we had to modify them. For that, we had spent $400,000. So that is considered as a directly attributable cost as well. So all in all, the type of costs which can be capitalized are the purchase cost, which includes VAT, which comes up to $2.5 million. The modification costs done to our operations bay, which comes up to $700,000. And we had to, modify the assets which we purchased as well. And these modification costs, which come up to $400,000, should be capitalized. So $2.5 million plus $700,000 plus $400,000. The total amount should be sent to the statement of financial position as the asset value, as the value of these door tipper machines. All right. Then let's look at the remaining expenses. These expenses should be expensed. What type of costs am I talking about? Training costs. So as per this scenario, the training cost comes up to $120,000, and the employees involved with machinery maintenance need to attend training sessions to be able to maintain these new machines. So these are new machines, so our employees should know how to maintain these new machines. So because of that, focused on conducting training sessions, we have spent $120,000. However, this cannot be capitalized because this is not a directly attributable cost. Yes, we need to keep maintaining these machines to keep using them. However, that does not indicate that we can we capitalize this expenditure which is tied to training. Why is that the case? Because let's assume we train 10 different employees, and at the year end, 3 of them leave the company. So we have already incurred some money, but if 3 individuals leave the company, then we'd have to recruit 3 additional individuals and again spend money on training. So although we have already spent money on 10 individuals, we are not gaining the full benefit out of them, because at any given time, these employees can leave us. So these type of training costs cannot be considered as directly attributable expenses, because directly attributable costs are incurred to get the asset ready for its intended use. So these training sessions were not conducted with the intention of getting the asset ready for its intended use. Instead, these were spent on maintenance activities. So because of that, we cannot capitalize the training cost, which comes up to $120,000. So this cost is a revenue expenditure. If we have to keep utilizing these machines, we have to keep if we are to keep generating revenue utilizing these machines, we have to keep maintaining them. In order to maintain them properly, we have to train our employees. So therefore, this training cost is considered as a revenue expenditure, and such expenses should be charged to the statement of profit and loss. They cannot be capitalized and be included as part of the asset value, which appears in the statement of financial position. All right, so then let's direct our attention towards maintenance and service contract cost, which comes up to $80,000. Again, this is not a directly attributable cost. Why am I saying this? Directly attributable costs are incurred to get the asset ready for its intended use. We need not spend money on maintenance to get the asset ready. Instead, after we start utilizing the asset, we'd have to spend money on maintenance. So because of that, again, these type of costs are considered as revenue expenditure, because if you are to keep generating revenue utilizing these assets, we'd have to keep maintaining them. So therefore, the ongoing maintenance costs are considered as revenue expenditure, which are again charged to the SOPL or expense to the statement of profit and loss. And the last cost is the interest cost, which comes up to $74,000. The machines were purchased using debt finance at an interest of 5% per annum. So this is our finance cost. So the finance cost definitely cannot be included. This is our loan interest. So the loan interest cannot be included as part of the asset value, because there's no indication of such a method as per IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. You can only include the purchase price along with the import duties and directly attributable costs. This is not a directly attributable cost. Instead, this is the cost of financing the asset. This is the loan interest, and therefore this should be charged to the SOPL and should appear. This $74,000 should appear under the finance cost of the SOPL of Halfpenny. All right, so that's how you should approach this type of a question. So in a nutshell, I've started the answer by explaining the capitalization, which comes under IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. In order to capitalize, we have to create an asset, and we have to look into various different angles when trying to determine whether we have created an asset or not. And then when we have determined whether we have created an asset or not, then we can move towards the method of capitalization. Capitalization is only applicable if we have created an asset. And when it comes to capitalizing, we need to look at two different methods. We should consider the purchase price and the direct attributable costs. Then, considering the information at hand, you are supposed to apply this method of capitalization. So any type of cost which is capitalized will be sent to the SOFP as the value of the door tipper machines, and the remaining costs which cannot be capitalized should be sent to various different parts of our statement of profit and loss. All right, so that's how you should approach this type of a question, and I hope you'd attempt the remaining mock exams, the remaining subtasks within mock exam 1 and the remaining 5 mock exams, to gain a clear understanding of how each syllabus area is tested and how you should approach each syllabus area. So I mentioned the fact that it's essential that you improve your application skills by redeveloping answer plans. So now you have gained an understanding of how to deal with a question tied to capitalization. And since you have access to the same answer plan under both paid and free content, after this session, if you have time, redevelop the answer plan on your own. After you have redeveloped your answer plan, compare it to TCS's answer plan and see whether you have missed out on any of the points which I've mentioned within this answer plan. Because if you nail all these points, if you include all these points which appear within the answer plan, then you will get full marks. Out of the syllabus areas, F1 is the easiest. Why? Because there are a set of points which you need to cover when attempting a question tied to your F1 syllabus. And if you cover all these points, you will gain full marks without fail. So, try to see whether you have gained something out of this session by redeveloping answer plans. After you have redeveloped answer plans, redevelop the answer plan for subtask A of section 2. Compare your fresh answer plans to TCSs to see whether there are any shortcomings. So that's how you should conduct your revision. All right. So having said that, I'm happy to say that we achieved a 96% pass rate last time in the February 2025 sitting. And this individual who attempted the OCS exam for the third time, in the first two instances, this individual relied on various different study providers, but in the third session, got in touch with us and conducted preparations and was able to score 98 marks when the pass mark is just 80. So you can achieve a similar feat if you stick to our study plan. If you are yet to start preparations, you still have time. I will share the 3-week study plan with you via the WhatsApp group. Stick to it, thereby attempting 2 mock exams per week and conducting revision focused on the same two weekly mock exams. If you do so, you will be done with all 6 mock exams within 3 weeks, and at the same time, you will have enough time to conduct your revision, thereby fine-tuning your theoretical knowledge and application. If so, you will get extremely good marks at your real examination. Having said that, moving on to the Q&A. So if you have any questions, you can switch on your mic and talk or drop us a message via the chat. I'm going to pause the recording. All right. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. Visit our website and click on the contact button and drop your message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email during office hours, or you can directly email us via info@study@tcs.com or WhatsApp us on this number. And I urge you to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of the weekly webinars and workshops are uploaded to the YouTube handle. Also, via TikTok, you would gain access to 6 different videos, which is a good mind map of the entire pre-scene. So on a daily basis, keep watching these TikTok videos so that you constantly keep yourself reminded about the most important points highlighted within your pre-scene document. Also, we have shared a similar mind map via the WhatsApp group as well. So keep reading this mind map on a daily basis to make sure that you are constantly kept reminded of what appears within the pre-scene. So you need not take any steps to remember what appears within the pre-scene. Simply refer to our TikTok videos and our pre-scene mind map. And having said that, it brings us to the end of the first workshop conducted in lieu of the upcoming OCS exams. I hope you gain something out of this session. And if you're yet to start preparations, kickstart your preparations from tomorrow itself, thereby attempting 2 mock exams per week and redeveloping answer plans concerning the same 2 mock exams. So I wish you all the very best, and I expect to see you guys the week after next in the next workshop, in which I'm going to take you through a question to do with your E1 syllabus. Thank you very much for joining. I'll see you guys week after next.